Allow me then introduce to you some other colleagues on the panel, in the persons of Dr. David Kabugo, who is the Director, Institute of Education and Research at Makerere University, and she's indeed part of our BELP committee and championing the area of teacher training and empowerment. What an honor and joy it is to introduce a man of great humility in the person of our district governor, District 913, Honorable Dr. Mike Kennedy Sebaru. If this was a Uganda session, I would say that Nayetaru Tumide Mwana, he is indeed with us this morning, and it's a joy to have you. As usual, it's my privilege to guide you through this great discussion. And again, indeed, with no much further ado, I request that you allow me delve immediately to the discussion. But before I start, I would like to draw your attention to what are priority areas at BELP. We have talked about this and discussed this over time, but I thought that it is critical that I remind ourselves of these 4 critical areas. And these define whatever we'll be discussing this morning. But also our discussion will focus us into the future. We're nearing the end of Q1, and I would like to precisely thank each and every single one of you that have really engaged deeply and intensely into the BELP activities. Great are the milestones that we have hit, that in the interest of time, I'll choose to shelve for now. But at a right and appropriate time, at the end of this quarter, we will be glad to share with you the great strides that we have achieved. So allow me begin by welcoming you, Rotarian Sandra Namarone, to start us off from the Rotary Club of Chisasi Chanja. We've had quite a series of questions around the essay writing competition. And indeed, it is our privilege that we answer. And I'll allow you, Sandra, to start us off. The first question I would like to ask, and you to enlighten us in a very precise manner. Why essay writing? But not just that. How far have we gone into this essay writing? And what should clubs expect in the coming days? So Rotary and Sandra, you are welcome to start us off with that question and speak to this audience. Over to you, Sandra.
Thank you so much, CMP Frederick Takule. Thank you, District Governor, and all the leaders that are online. It's a privilege to speak to you. I'll go direct to the question. Why essay writing? We know that pupils in schools at whatever level are engaged in various contests, starting with exams in themselves. And most students work well within boundaries. So when we choose to introduce a culture of writing an essay in Rotary, we are providing strict limits in the form of deadlines, word count, subject matters that students or pupils can relate with. Students will begin the practice of writing within time limits, and they face all sorts of deadlines as they grow up, you know. So this is in one way helping to shape their future as they get to understand, how do I learn to adopt? The other thing is we are helping them to understand an audience around them. Many times they will be interacting with a school audience or an outside audience. So some are writing with participation with their parents, their teachers, and when they grow up, they will be introduced already to a world of writing. And we want to say, how can we better prepare them to engage? And one of the ways of engaging with people is through communication. When you say something, it can easily be forgotten, but when you write a piece of information, it is written and cannot be erased easily. Writing also improves confidence. We want pupils to enter this writing competition, or those that have already submitted their essays, because we want them to understand that they should not be worried about their opinions, but rather state it confidently and look for approval, or put out your opinion there and see where it goes. Many people start like this in debates, in different interact clubs in schools, but it has to start somewhere. And we are saying, as Rotary, let's build the confidence of our pupils right from a young age. How far is the essay writing competition? The essay writing competition has rules. We are only accepting essays that are coming through from the Rotary clubs. Not any school can just submit an essay. So the Rotary Club and the schools, they have chosen to work with, especially in this Rotary year, given our theme project being on basic education and literacy, have impressed upon the teachers, who have also impressed upon schools and the pupils themselves in the very schools, to submit different topics in the thematic areas of peace and conflict prevention, disease prevention and treatment, water and sanitation, maternal and child health, basic education, economic and literacy, economic and community development, as well as supporting the environment. So we are helping the pupils to imagine a world of anything in the areas I just mentioned above. Because when they're children, they can imagine just about anything. Some of them are very innocent, so they have the best of ideas. And as Rotary, we want to tap into this virgin way of thinking and say, if a child can think like this, how can we adopt that as adults? How can we pick that kind of information? How can it better speak to our lives as Rotarians, as a people that are focused to change the world around us? So we've received so many essays, and the deadline is on 30th of September. We shall be revealing all the schools, the participants, but there are so many, more than, I think 30 schools have already submitted. And we know that the best prize for any child in school would be a scholarship. At least it's one of those top-notch things that any parent would be glad to have their pupil win. So we're encouraging synergy between the parents and the teachers to ensure that all their pupils can participate in this competition and make sure they have an award. They have an award to take with them at home. Thank you so much, President. CMP.
Once a president, always a president. Thank you very much, Sandra. Colleagues, I will really request that you get your pen and your notebook, or even your smartphone where you put your notes very closer to you. Put down the questions, comments, and indeed concerns. So at a later stage into this discussion, we will definitely allow you space to voice the same. And thank you very much, Sandra, once again. I would like to quickly shift to you, Flavia Nampala. On the 25th of August this very year, the Belep district team penned a memorandum of understanding with the Uganda Community Libraries Association of Uganda. And this really opens door to over 200 community libraries that we can use to enhance reading. My question to you and to the Rotarians on call this morning, what is expected of Rotary clubs after signing of this MOU that links us to these over 200 libraries? What is expected of us as Rotary clubs? Then what, and how do we engage? How do we plug in into this as Rotary clubs? Rotarian Flavia, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair Belep, CMP, Rotarian Frederick. I'm very happy to be on call this morning, and I'm hoping that I am loud and clear. Thank you for introduction, or especially starting with the MOU with the community libraries that we have engaged in so far. Now, the community library is a very, very near concept to the community in regards to building literacy, in regards to developing the literacy muscle in the schools, but also in the community. Now, we all know that when we start talking about library, we really are talking about a space or a building. And now we have even found that we even have mobile libraries, small containers that have been enhanced with wheels, and they keep moving from house to house in the villages. Those two have also taken up the definition of the library, containing collection of books. And of course, many of us have seen periodicals in the university, but some of these can also be films or recorded music, but people actually get access to them and borrow them. This particular time, we are paying a lot of emphasis on literature, something that somebody can be able to read, comprehend, understand, and probably write also reflections after they have been able to access the materials. Our community libraries, as we have all heard, are over 140 in the country. And the concept of community library really comes out of public libraries, especially in Uganda. We had a number of public libraries, but we all know, and we have probably seen some of these in our different home areas, in the district offices. They have really become dormant and have become more or less sleeping giants. So the concept of community library comes in to build onto the shortfalls of the public libraries so that they're able to reach the communities, they're able to be nearer to the people. And this year we want to even make them even more nearer to the people, like I will discuss later. So an MOU was signed between the community libraries of Uganda and Rotary. And we're very excited about this MOU because this MOU set boundaries of how we can relate with each other. We found the community libraries started from a self-drive. They have volunteers that have set up community libraries all over the country. And most of these, about 90% of these, are really volunteers. Maybe the 10% have been supported by some individuals in the past, but are also still in need of support. And so this MOU comes in to spell out the responsibilities of the community libraries, but also of the Rotary Club. How do we relate with each other? And now, to bring this question really back home, we as Rotarians, how are we supposed to take this opportunity and build onto the libraries that are in the communities? We thought that the community libraries needed to be more relevant to the people they serve. We were able to also ascertain at the baseline that these community libraries have been serving a number of schools in their radius, maybe say about 2 to 3 kilometers radius of each community library. But we also discovered, and this was an informal discovery, it wasn't really structured like the structured ones we'll talk about later, that they actually were not, some of them were not as relevant to the schools that they served. And so they needed to be helped to become more relevant to the schools, to become more relevant to the curriculums that are being run, the national curriculum in particular, but also other community libraries that have started would be very relevant even to the international curriculums that are running in the schools. So we wanted to make them more relevant. We wanted to season them with salt and make them more satisfying to the customer. We wanted them to have more trained librarians who are able to quickly get access to the information and give it to the client. More librarians that are able to actually guide the young readers that come into the community libraries. We wanted to have them have more traffic coming in from the schools. So there was need for the schools to also know that there's these community libraries in our community and we must make good use of them. But we also wanted the other very important aspect of sustainability to be very key. And this is how we thought that the schools having found the community libraries very relevant, would then be able to also gladly contribute a sustainable, a small fee that would actually help to sustain the services in the community libraries. And then we thought that, well, school libraries are very important, and every school really has an obligation to supply good literature for their readers to develop their reading ability. But a community library serves more schools than a school would, because a school would be internal. So we thought that these community libraries would reach out to many more schools and be able to serve them. Now, the Rotarians were coming on board to help these community libraries actually meet all these. And so we have developed a tool that would help the Rotarians to actually go down to the community libraries and do a baseline. And that baseline would collect data on how many schools do you serve, how many students come to the library, what kind of books are actually being demanded for, what stock do you have, what stock do you need, and then how can we be able to help you, to link you up with the different stakeholders that can actually supply the books that are relevant for the users. And then the furniture, do we have special needs catered for in this library? Because the community is diverse. The community needs to be included. There's an aspect of inclusion that also community libraries need to pay attention to. For instance, we need to have literature that can serve the deaf, that can serve the blind as well. And so all these things would be catered for in our baseline information. But then we would leave room for the Rotary clubs to intervene as and when or how they felt that they were actually empowered to do so. So we wanted baseline information to find out where these libraries are and where they must go, and then point them into a direction where they must get there. But every Rotary club can actually come forth and then be able to innovate and see how best they can support these libraries. And then would need a report from every Rotary club to actually tell us, this is how we have gone, this is how far we have gone. And some of the key strategies that we have thought about that would help us, especially as Rotarians, to understand the community library concept is to invite the community libraries into our clubs. And I know that there are about 8 clubs so far that have already been mapped up with their different community libraries. And maybe just at that very point, I would like to inform all of us that every Rotary club has actually been merged with a community library, because we have over 149 community libraries in the country. We actually have more. These are the ones that have been formally registered, but we have even 200 more that are in the process of registering. And every Rotary club has been merged to either 1 or 2 community libraries to be able to support. Now, we wanted to have these clubs helped
Flavia,
and supported. So we have
Flavia,
yes.
I'll beg that you wind up in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Ginger, Source of the Nile, has already been met with the Nambi Sepuya. Art of the Child by RC Wakiso, Mama Yoyo in Mukono, RC Mukono. We have RC Arua that has already been contacted. We have the Rotary Club of Manyangwa that has already been contacted. Chanja Metro is working with also a community library in Manyangwa. RC Machindie has already been has already contacted M. Lisada Community Library, and so many more. We would like to have the report from the Rotary clubs to see how far we have been able to reach out to the community libraries. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Flavia. Just a humble request to you that as soon as today, if you can, please share a list of all these libraries and where they are located on the BELEP officers platform, so that clubs can get to pick which libraries they feel they can be attached to. But also, you could be already attached to a library, or you're running a community library as a club that is not listed on the community libraries. How do you be a part of this? please get in touch with Flavia. Flavia at an appropriate stage. In fact, right now, I'll request that you do share your contact details within the chat section. Now, I want to quickly move to the vice chair. She had intimated connectivity challenges, but I see that by God's grace, Caroline Kavuma, you are with us. And I would like to move to you straight away. Now, we want to talk about the state of our learners and teachers. But before maybe I go to that state, I want to slightly take a step back. Colleagues, reading is very fundamental and it plays a very pivotal role in enhancing literacy in our learners at such a tender age. So we want to ensure that there is reading everywhere, reading at school, reading at home, reading in the community, reading in the taxi, reading and reading and reading and reading. But teachers have a place and a space, a very pivotal role as well. And I want to bring in Rotarian Caroline here. Why should clubs do an assessment? We've talked about trying to do an assessment of teachers within our partnering schools, and not just teachers, but also our learners within our partnering schools. Why should we do this as clubs? Why do we have to take an assessment? And how are we going to do this? Rotarian Caroline, over to you. Caroline, I see you muted. You will need to unmute your microphone and then go for it. Okay. Okay, maybe in the interest of time, Caroline, being a team leader in this, allow me deputize her and give insight into this very critical subject. Colleagues, you'll all agree with me that teachers and learners across all the schools that we are partnering with, schools are indeed at different levels. They are facing different challenges. So we cannot sit as a club and say, okay, this is the state of teachers out of assumption. So it is very important to try to, take a deeper understanding on how best you can only solve a problem that you have insight into. So that is why we want to be a little more specific so that we have a realistic touch of the problem, of the issues that are underlying.
Hello?
Dr. Caroline, you're with us?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm with you. Yeah,
Awesome.
Good morning, members.
Go for it.
Good morning, members.
Good morning.
Yes, I am moving, I'm on the road, so there may be waves because I was waiting at home and I didn't get the link early. I left my tab at the office, but I was using the computer now. Thank you for sending me the link. About assessment, yes, members, it's very important for us to know the impact that we are going to make by looking at how teachers do their work. We have already given data to UNEB, and UNEB is sorting the schools. Unfortunately, they've not yet given me the list of schools they are going to work with, and they have not yet given me the budget, because they are busy at that time, since they are also preparing for exams for O level. We all know that national exams are starting soon, and UNEB is central in this. So anytime, probably next week, I think I'll be able to share work with you, to share the data with you. But maybe what we normally use is 20% of the population is tested, and we are going to try as much as possible to include all clubs and to include all the districts, so that whichever percentages are there are included in the sample, so that we try to do the coverage of our area, to do the coverage of our populace. We would like to do it scientifically so that we are not questioned at any level, that probably the data we are using is insignificant. We would like to make it significant and ensure that the data is usable, even with education, is usable by all organizations that would like to see reading go on. So it should be data which is catchy, data which is usable by different organs that want to support reading. I'm glad to note that we have over 300 schools, and of this, the percentage we'll have, of which will be about 20%, will go over 58 or about 60 schools. So when we do this sample, we will be able to give a clear picture of where our teachers are as a country, and then we'll be able to do the interventions on how to improve them in their areas of teaching and learning. And the same will be for children's assessment. The same schools will be used for purposes of being on time. We shall use the same schools for children's assessment and for teachers' assessment. And we shall be selecting a representative number of the population in the schools. So we have to reach to schools and see the population of the children in the classes we are targeting. And then we shall ask the teachers to prepare for us. Normally, we sample by going to the school, the children line up, and we randomly select them in a line, boy, girl, in an alternative manner. Skip one, choose two, we can choose a pattern. And we choose them there and then we put them, we subject them to that test. It's going to be an oral test. And that test is already being worked on. I've not got the test I should have, and UNEP will not allow us anyway to share it. So they will have to have the test. What I really fear that they might give us a big budget is that they seem not to trust us so much and they want to do the test themselves. But I was telling them that some of us are teachers too, and we know the significance of the test, and we shall try to tell ourselves as Rotarians that this is an important activity. We don't need to share the tool or to leak it. So we are still negotiating on the issues of the people who are going to conduct the test. And I just hope that they will trust us, that we also want something which is genuine and something which is authentic and valid. So we cannot, again, give the test early. That's it, except if there are members who do have a question on that line, I'll be able to respond to it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, CKI, as we do call you at BELEP. What is it? Keep note for us as Rotary clubs and as Rotarians. Number one, you need to ensure that your club BELEP officer has submitted the schools that your club is partnering with. That is a starting point. And when you hear, I'm so grateful, by the way, to each and every single one of you friends. We have so far over 300 schools that we are working with. What an amazing opportunity that we have. So ensure that the schools you're working with have been shared. There is a tool that we shared with you that you can use to submit these schools. You know, when you deal with doctors, and I'm talking about not the doctors on the other side, you don't assume anything. So we are going to do a scientific assessment. So scientific means there is a scientific methodology, and it is called sampling, for lack of a better word. Sampling, really to simplify it, is where you take a small portion, a representative portion of the entire population that will give you tangible information. So that is what is going to happen. So if you have not submitted your schools, one, you misinform our population, but also you miss out on being included in the study. So please do ensure that you submit this. And indeed, we said BELEP is an enhancement program. You see this come into play. You're hearing about UNEP. UNEP has already the tools and the platform, the technical expertise and experience and exposure to do these assessments. So we'll be partnering with UNEP to ensure that we work closely with them to do these assessments, because ours is to enhance what is already in place. So we are going to choose a sample from the schools that you have shared with us, and this sample will inform us on how to do it. So be on the look. As soon as early next month, we hope to do this before the 15th. So we'll share with you information and details on which schools have been chosen and to which clubs, and we'll reach out to your clubs that have fallen into the sample, and then we'll guide you on how further to do this. There are budget issues that we will discuss at a later stage. So friends, I really want to open this up for discussion so that we can get to engage in depth and as much as possible. But before I do that, I would like to invite our district governor, Honorable Mike Kennedy Sebaru. I know that one of the critical areas that informed you to choose to guide us and lead us into this signature program of basic education and literacy is of the great importance it is. And our message has reached far and wide. But I would like to invite you, Honorable DG Mike. What is your call in these remaining days of action? In less than 3 minutes, what is your call to us as Rotary clubs? And after that, I'll open it up. I will welcome you to raise your hand, and I will allow you space after the message from the DG. DG, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, our moderator. Allow me to thank you as chair, Caroline as vice, Sandra in charge of writing, Flavia in charge of libraries, and David in charge of teachers. But I also want to appreciate the amazing presidents who are championing this cause, and the BELEP officers, the respective clubs that are supporting the same. And recently we did appoint Diane Kateba as a BELEP Goodwill Ambassador, and we'll have several ambassadors go around and champion the cause of basic education and literacy. Like you've indicated, we are dreaming big, and this came out of the imagination of our Rotary International president. And for us, we see BELEP as a tool of transformation, and we simply want to do that. And it also answers the notion of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because BELEP is an equalizer. BELEP is a tool that allows diversity, equity, and inclusion to be achieved in the most sustainable way. What I want to tell all that are on call this morning is that BELEP is a program in very safe hands. BELEP is being championed and being implemented by people like you've had them, with good education, experience, exposure, and expertise, and empathy. People that are ready to sacrifice for the cause of reading and writing and enhancing it at different levels. So let's work with them. Let's follow all the instructions that we are being given. Let's use our BELEP officers to be on the lookout of the developments that are emerging from the BELEP Secretariat, because we are rolling out all these activities, and we want all clubs to participate. And BELEP, like a buffet, you pick and choose what is most convenient to you, what falls within your interest as a club, what is easy for you to undertake, what is near to your clubs that you are working with. So let's take advantage of it, because being amazing is not only doing big things in big ways, but it is also doing small things in a big way. For instance, as individuals, just donating a book is doing something small, but in a big way, given the outcome of the same. So I would like to encourage individual Rotarians to do something about BELEP, clubs to do something about BELEP, communities to do something about BELEP. And more importantly, since we are talking about enhancement, we are working with the ministries, departments, and agencies of government in this endeavor. Likewise, we are partnering with non-state actors to deliver this great program. So play your role. It begins and ends with you. Each and every one of us have a role to play. Let's play it well. Let's play it timely. Let's play it in a manner that will create impact at the end of the day. So, Mr. Moderator, my message is to encourage each and every one of us to play our specific roles, play them well, play them timely, and play them enthusiastically, so that at the end of the day, when we measure the impact and there is some improvement in our reading and writing and comprehension, then you sit back and have a reason to smile, because you will have played a role and you will have undertaken your civic responsibility as a responsible citizen. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you very much, DG. If amazing was a person, you would not fall short of anything. Thank you very much for that great inspiration. Colleagues, one of the simple things you can do in BELEP and right now is to raise your hand, seek clarification where you need it. Weigh in with what you feel can really make this better. There's nothing cast in stone. We are open to great and brilliant ideas to get us far. So the time is right now. So I'm going to request you colleagues, raise your hand, and I would allow you space to share your question or comment. And with no much further ado, I will take a set of 3, and then I will let the responsible parties answer. Miriam, I see your hand is up. You're welcome to unmute and share your question. And after Miriam, immediately I will request you, Samuel Musana, to also weigh in with your question. Start us off, Miriam.
Thank you, Chair. My question goes to Caroline. When it comes to training teachers, what is in stock for the inclusion in terms of specialized teachers to teach persons with disabilities? Can she just tell us in a nutshell how the tool is going to include inclusion, so that clubs that want to focus on inclusion can be able to know how to help the teachers who are specialized in teaching persons with disability? Thank you.
Thank you, moderator and the panelists. My question is to the specialists in the panel. We have a problem of some of the primary teachers also having issues of teaching English. When you go to a school, because my school is one of those participating, reading has become a very big problem. Right from nursery, you find a teacher making a mistake, and once corrected, the mistake still comes in. How do we evaluate these teachers? Do we also need to go ahead and evaluate what is taught in PTCs? Because that is the foundation, that's where the problem could be coming. Are we also involving the PTCs in BELEP to ensure that these teachers give our children the right knowledge, spellings in English, something like that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will welcome you, our LG. Please weigh in with your question or comment. Then we'll take the 3 first.
Thank you so much, the amazing BELEP team. Mine is on the timelines. when are we expecting to see the impact of BELEP within the respective communities, and especially when the clubs are reporting? I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie, for the question. And I will request Caroline Kavuma, if you're still on call, these, apart from the question of the timelines, these seem to be around your docket. Miriam seeks to guide us, to guide clubs. What plans are there in place to ensure that there is inclusiveness for our learners and teachers, for learners with special needs? What are the plans of assessing their teachers? Kindly speak into that. But also, we have a big problem of teachers that can hardly teach English. How do we address this? Do we go back to the PTCs? If you can give us a bird's view into the solution. I know that we are still at infancy stages, but you could give us insight. Dr. Caroline, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do you hear me? Hello?
You are loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm on a bumpy road, but I hope I'll be able to make it through. Thank you very much for the questions. And I'll endeavor to answer them. First of all, I will talk about inclusion. UNEB makes simple attempts in trying to see how learners are included. Inclusion, you may appreciate, members, that inclusion is still a big challenge for us to meet as education. We have to admit we are making baby steps into this big and very important subject, because even the materials, we do not have materials enough that will enable us to do this. But usually there are simple things that we would like teachers to do in a bit of identifying children, for example, in terms of their vision, in terms of their auditory skills, and in terms of their mental abilities. So what we do about inclusion is a simple thing. It may be about grouping. How is the teacher conscious about the children's speed of reading and the children's ability to read for comprehension? So what we are handling, like I was talking to my schools, is to start identifying children in their ability groups, trying to see which child reads fast and which child is slow and which child does not comprehend, so that we give them remediated support or differentiated support. So in a way, that one is dealing with inclusion. And then the other one would be to look at the materials, because sometimes we train teachers on how to do materials that children can feel and be taken into consideration so that they are part of the learning. Those are going to be done, and UNEB can look at whether teachers are conscious about children's ability to read and children's ability to differentiate and children's ability to comprehend, so that they do ability groups. And they also try as much as possible to do early screening. So we shall teach them a little about screening, because those are simple skills that teachers can be taught. So UNEB will look at that and will assess. So since you've raised it early, we shall consciously ask them to include it in the tool. And I'll ask them, because normally they report few lines about inclusion. So I'm going to communicate this to them early, and then they are able to tell us. Maybe on the next meeting, I may have a little more to share with you how they handle inclusion in their tools and in their assessment. Then the other question is on training teachers of the PTCs. I think, members, we cannot handle everything at once. This study is going to inform us where the gaps are. And once we get to know where the gaps are, then we are going to bring maybe PTCs on board sometime. Training. The good thing is that as we speak now, PTCs have recruited the last cohort, and the cohort is going out by December. Let us be informed as Rotarians that the PTC system is phasing out, and we are introducing a new system of teacher training that's going to take on degree holders. And we just hope that the step we are taking is going to help people in getting quality, because as we all know, we've been struggling and we have had access, but the quality has failed. And some of the things are those that teachers themselves that are in the PTC have been a result of the system we are correcting. So what do you expect? The teachers have always been having sound problems, they have speech problems, because they come from UPE schools where the teachers have not taught them these things. And they always say garbage in, garbage out. I'm not meaning that so much, but these teachers have been disadvantaged in a way. They may not be that bad, and they are not too late to be corrected. So they can improve, and that's why we do CPDs, that once we realize a gap that maybe reading methodology wasn't handled very well in the PTC, then the teachers are subjected to training. And once you train them, they start speaking better. So we have to do interventions in speech, in English, and also interventions in methodology. So we are conscious that English is also dropping. And the idea of dropping is that people are not teaching it right. Although people attribute it to the thematic curriculum, which is a wrong thing. It's that we are not doing the things right. Thematic curriculum is a very good curriculum. It's one of the best, but there is something that's not happening right. And we are here to correct it in the change that we are trying to move and drive here at UNITE. In terms of the timelines and in terms of how do we do this, when do we get impact? Ladies and gentlemen, it depends on what you define by impact and what you mean, what you take to be impact. When we were in the schools which you visited in my club so far, something little impact is a very big subject and also hard to measure, but there are visible things that you can see that are taking place. I've observed 3 or 4 things. The first thing is that our children have been so dull, in that the way they are taught, the teacher teaches them and they are so flat. They do the things in the routine way every day. And so they are not quick thinkers, they are not fast. And the interventions we are giving them are exciting them already, because I know kids myself. I know how to excite them. I know how to tap them and they go into the air and I make them be children. So this is not happening with the children, the teachers. The teachers are being helped to know that kids can reach any potential as long as you tip them up, as long as you excite them. And so what we are taking into the reading is already showing that kids can change, they can be excited, they can really do. I saw a kid who was very shy at reading, but by being with them for that 1 hour we were, because we are rewarding every child and dancing for them and, celebrating them, that kid slowly got out of his cocoon and stood up and read with courage, even though he was not reading right. He had many things which were not pronounced well, but were correcting him on the way. He trusted that he will be corrected. He trusted that nobody was going to hit him. He trusted that he will be celebrated in whichever effort. And I watched him and I'm writing a little article about him. So impact is already indicating that the presence of people in a school to read to the children is already a very, very big step in the lives of the children. They feel that they have fun. They feel they have friends who can read and dance with them. They feel that they are going to be celebrated and accepted. And that's a step already. In the communities where parents are already getting excited about what is happening in their schools, and some of them come around to see what is happening, impact is already starting to grow. And the impact of only people knowing that there is something that is happening in the schools and that their friends who are readers to children are the simple steps we are going to start counting. But the great impact is that impact I know that goes into the outcome of everything we are doing about children's ability to read and write for life, for success in school. And that one will deliberately take a bit of time because we are working with big numbers, but slowly by slowly opening up children's ability to read, to comprehend is not a simple task that you will see in terms of a year. And we have already seen that this activity has to continue along with others. The impact will be shown in a minimum. We will not put a lot of expectation. And for us, as we start assessing reading, we normally put a target that what do we expect to see in these few months? We may say that maybe the children's reading speed will increase from this level in which we have seen it. If they've been reading 30 words per minute, that we shall expect them to read 40 words per minute. So we shall set a target that is measurable and that's achievable, so that when at the end, when we give the test, we are really seeing that, yes, the children's reading speed was at this, it has increased by 2 or 3 or 10%. And that is what we shall celebrate. We don't give very high targets, but for sure, every intervention done with the heart of the heart of Rotary, vibrancy, is going to touch these children, because I know children, and I think Rotarians need to be also trained on how to really excite and get the children's interest into what we are doing, so that they are able to improve within an environment and a climate of friendliness. And that's what we are going to train teachers about, being friendly and being loving and giving children opportunities and celebrating every little success that they make. I wonder whether I've covered everything that you have asked, but for now, that's it. Thank you.
Moderator, you have 3 minutes. You have 3 more minutes.
Awesome. Thank you very much, amazing President. And in the 3 minutes, I will just do 2 things. One, I will pick a few comments.
Excuse me. There is something on payment that we need to say. Rotary clubs need to be ready to spend some money, because when UNEP gives us the budget, I don't know, as a district leadership for BELEP, we might not have those resources already. So I'm appealing to clubs to start preparing to sponsor the visit of UNEP to the schools, which we shall calculate. Once they give us the figure, we shall be able to divide it among ourselves, and then we shall know the unit cost for each club. I thank you.
Thank you very much, CKI. In the remaining 2 minutes, I will take just 2 comments from the chat room, and then if they need response, we'll give response. But I will take only one hand as we close. The question is, how can teachers assess reading skills with such large numbers of students in their classrooms? You are right that assessing reading skills needs teachers to be trained. And then how will the planned assessment specifically capture achievements of BELEP, considering that learning is a long term? Many are the questions. The rest really are comments of appreciation. And there's a comment here again from you, AJ Samuel. We are having last resort people going to teach, a vocation that they may not have wanted in the first place. Thus, mediocrity. And you're indeed very, very right. Again, teachers will always have canes in the classroom in the end, threatening pupils and putting them on bunkenke. Quite an amazing comment there. So I will really request that in 30 seconds, since I believe most of the questions have been answered, but we'll take more at the end. I will give 30 seconds to each of the panelists so that we wind up in 3 seconds to give their parting shots. And I'll start with you, Sandra. 30 seconds, your parting shots.
Thank you so much, Frederick. Yeah, I just request, we still have 1 more week. Let's continue drumming the campaign for essay writing, and let's get as many participants as possible. It's going to be a big event as we finally award the winner, and hopefully it can become an annual event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Rotarian Flavia Nampala, you have 30 seconds, your parting shots.
Thank you very much. I would like to encourage every Rotarian on call this morning to encourage your clubs to reach out to the clubs, to the Rotary family of libraries that we have attached to you. I have already shared a list with you on the forum, and we congratulate all those that have already done so. Let's keep up.
Did we lose Flavia?
I think so.
I would like to encourage everyone to really go ahead and reach out to the libraries that we have attached with onto your club, so that you can support them and give them every encouragement out there to reach out to the schools. We'll share more information, and I've also shared a list on the forum of the speakers that you could invite to your clubs to speak to you. I've attached their areas of operation, but also their telephone numbers. Please go ahead, because when we bring them near to us, we're actually taking the community libraries nearer to the communities. So thank you very much. May God bless you all.
Awesome. I will invite the amazing governor to give his parting shots before I turn back to the president in a moment.
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator. Thank you very much for all that are on board and for the able discussants and the panelists. My parting shot is that a meaningful life of a Rotarian is by creating meaning to the lives of people around us, more so in our communities. So supporting BELEP is one way of creating meaning and future for the generation to come in terms of posterity. And it begins and ends with each and every one of you. Be able to do small things in amazing ways, like donating books, supporting children that are disadvantaged, so that then we give them a future. So BELEP should be a way of life for each and every one of us in fulfillment of meaning to life. Thank you.
Okay, mine is to really say thank you very much, first and foremost, to you, the amazing president, and the comrades at the Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak, for allowing us space to delve into this very critical, important subject of discussion. We take it not for granted, but really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And yes, I just want to make a brief comment about the impact, the timelines within which we shall feel the impact. In addition to what CKI, Caroline Kavuma, has said, some of the impact is immediate, some of it is short-term, and some of it is long-term, especially when we are talking about education. But this is why we took time to date the basis, the baseline. Where are we at? And we are also going deeper to see in the respective areas of intervention, where are we at? So at the end of the tunnel, at the end maybe of our tour of duty in this particular Rotary area, we'll go back and do the same. This is where we started. Where are we at? And we'll be able to share tremendous impact. But some of the impact is actually already being seen, as said by CKI. I thank you very much, and I turn this back to you, amazing President Edward Mugerwa.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed for an engaging morning discussing BELEP. You've had it from the horse's mouth. Let's make BELEP a way of life. That's the only way we can get the best, we can get the most out of this program. Grateful to our panelists for making it this morning, very early morning, and having such an engaging and productive discourse. Thank you very much. Thank you, DG, and thank you, the moderator. At this juncture, I would like to call upon Body Group member, Blueberries, to take us through give us the vote of thanks, and that will be Fiona.
Awesome. Thank you, my president. What an honor it is for me to pass a vote of thanks to our great panelists of today's debate. Thank you very much, our informed panelists, for this great debate. It was big, it was informative, it was entertaining, it was about BELEP. You have left us, each one of us, more informed than we were yesterday. To our dear IPP, Mr. BELEP, it couldn't be better than you moderated it. Thank you. This wouldn't have been a complete debate without each one of you on call. Thank you all for being part of this. Receive our virtual hugs till our physical fellowship, where you will all get a befitting hug from Director Chief Haga. Thank you so much. Over to you, my president.
Thank you very much, Fiona, for such a befitting vote of thanks. Sergeant at Arms, I need 2-3 minutes from you to conclude And I hereby hand over to you to give us the stats.
Thank you, President. I pray that I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay. We had 203 participants, 50 Rotary clubs, 7 Rotaract clubs, and 1 registered guest. Without, I seek guidance because of time. The list is long. Should I go through the list?
I propose that we share it in our various social media channels.
It is already in the chat room.
It has been shared on the chat room, but probably I recognize the Rotaractors, the Rotaract clubs, which are Makindye, Kampala South, Entebbe Airport, Nakuru, Naguru, Kampala West, Bukoto, and Kampala North. And we had 1 registered guest, Miss Esther Namara. We'll share the details in the chat later on, but also in the chat group, we have the details. The Rotary Club of the day has been Weogere Nambole on account of numbers. I submit.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Evelyn Ogwal was also a guest AP president. Evelyn Ogwal.
We've taken note of that. Over to you, Oteyan Jane, to give us the final toast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, President, for the opportunity. To the excellent and fantastic fellowship we have enjoyed, I would like to propose Rotary International.
Rotary the world over. Rotary the world over.
Rotary Wangara.
Thank you very much. Indeed, we have come to the end of our meeting. Moderator, I don't know if you have some time for the Chimeza. I know that people have some issues that they need clarified.
Yes, we will stay put for a while to respond to some of or any underlying concerns that colleagues could have.
President, I didn't get where the Ginger Library is. If I can.
Thank you very much for that. The Ginger Library, we have several libraries in Ginger, all the way to Muguluka, on your way to Kamuli. The one that has approached the Rotary Club of Ginger, source of the Nile, is the Nambi Sepuya Community Library. That's found in Muguluka, on your way to Kamuli, but that's still in Ginger.
Thank you, Flavia. But maybe in addition to that, a list has already been shared, and maybe some of our colleagues may not be on the BELEP officers platform, but we request that your BELEP officers can pick these lists and share them with your respective clubs. But for those on which platforms we are, we will try to share this. So you can look up on each of all those libraries. Should you have interest of attachment by your club, please reach out to us and we'll be able to connect you to the relevant parties so that you are able to engage. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, I think the list could also be shared on the platforms of the amazing presidents. Alternatively, we need to have it on the BELEP officers platform, but also the president, to ease communication and make it easily accessible. I guess that would be a good move as well. Thank you.
That is even much more amazing. With your guidance and indulgence, DG will certainly share the list. on all the relevant and appropriate platforms so that it can reach far and wide to the Rotary clubs. Thank you. Okay,
Great.
I see. Okay, I just want to appreciate the colleagues from the Uganda Community Libraries Association of Uganda that did plug in. Thank you very much. And I would like to resound the common phrase of that indeed we are in this together. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator and the team leader of BELEP, I would like to thank you for organizing this big debate where you've shared the master plan of BELEP. And I would like to thank the team that is rolling out BELEP. There are a number who are not on the panel, but who need to be recognized, like Peter Damzungu, like Miriam Ogoye, like Martin, Professor. All those people really are making BELEP tick, and we don't take your commitment, your professional input, your experience, exposure, and expertise, and the empathy with which you are rolling out this critical intervention. I really want to thank all of you. I want to thank the BELEP officers out there who are up and running, engaging with schools. I find it very interesting as I go visiting in my official visits that clubs have taken the implementation of BELEP at a monthly level. There are many clubs which interact with their schools on a monthly basis, and it is gaining a lot of traction. And like Caroline said, the excitement within the schools, within and among the teachers is building up. The interest is being generated in reading and writing, and it is already causing serious impact in terms of attitude and mindset change. So we are already impacting the environments where we're operating, and all we need to do is to encourage all the clubs to ensure regular contact, regular engagement and involvement of the schools in which they're operating, so that we build the momentum, we sustain the excitement, and we are able to deliver on the expectations. So, Mr. Moderator and our team leader, you are leading us well, you are inspiring us well, you are motivating us well, you are empowering us and encouraging us, and all is well in the BELEP team. And the sky is not even going to be the limit because we are fully occupying all the space. Just count on my support. I'm available, ready and willing to give it anytime you desire of it. Anytime you want me to participate, I'm available, and I will always commit to be available for BELEP, because that is all we have to give. If you have valued people like we are valuing our children, like we are valuing posterity, all we need to do is to give them what we consider valuable, and education is the only tested valuable that you can give to a child, and it is for keeps. It can never be taken away from them. So let's all play our role, play it right, play it timely, and play it with a lot of interest and a smile on the face. Thank you, team lead.
Awesome. Thank you very much, amazing governor, for always being there to support. And colleagues, you've heard it from the DG that he is fully ready, willing, committed, and available to support us in all our BELEP endeavors. And that is a great commitment from the district governor. Thank you very much. And indeed, I can attest that he has been there and he will always be there. Rotarian Walakra Bogia, I see your question that do we have community libraries in the cities or around the city? And the answer is definitely yes. I will share with you and your club the list of libraries. And should you wish to engage either or any of them, please reach out. We'll link you to our partners of Uganda Community Libraries Association, and you'll be able to engage. But key to note is the first mode of engagement is to take a deeper study. We've shared these are two to understand what is the community like in this particular library, and that will inform you on what interventions to engage in to make that library a little more active and impactful. It will also tell you which books do we need to read. If the library is around only secondary schools, maybe what we do. If the library is around only members of the community, what do we do? So these are some of the things that you need to get into discussion, into engagement with the Community Library Association for guidance on the interventions. So I hope that really clarifies your concern, Rotarian Warakira. I don't see any other.
Thank you very much.
Question. Esther Namara, you had a question right away from that. Yes, Benedicta, go ahead and ask your question.
Good morning. My name is Ben. I'm from Kampala West, Rotary Club of Kampala West. This has been a very productive debate and fellowship. I've enjoyed it. And for a while, I've been trying to get speakers to speak at our club and get them involved as well. And I was thinking maybe if this was possible to have it with my club too, but again, we meet on Thursday in the evening. I don't know whether it will be possible, but I really need help. And I really want to get my club involved and informed at least, but I don't know who to reach out to. But if we can have many speakers, that would be truly, we shall greatly appreciate it. Mine is more of a request. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Retractor Benedict. One, I have shared my contact in the chat room. In fact, my contacts. Please reach out should you need somebody to speak to you about any, oh, sorry, just one moment, everyone in the meeting. Okay, I'm resharing my contact in the chat room. You're welcome to reach out anytime. Should you wish to have somebody speak to you about a particular subject, we will certainly find an appropriate person to do so. But also, we are in talks with the district leadership of the Rotaractors, and at an appropriate time, we'll have a wider district discussion on how Rotaract clubs are plugging in. Rotaract clubs are actually already plugging in and doing a lot in this particular space. So, but reach out. I've shared my contact and will certainly be of support. And in fact, just for information, this Friday, I'll be speaking to the Rotaract Club of Chambo. So yes, we have people that are speaking to Rotaract clubs. So reach out and we'll plug you into a partner that can talk to you. Any other question?
In addition to your submission, team leader, we want to appreciate the Rotaractors. Many of the Rotaract clubs are working with their mother clubs to implement activities in their respective areas of jurisdiction. And this is very welcome. This is very encouraging because in terms of demographics, the Rotaractors are also giving back to community through their knowledge base, through their experience and exposure. And working with mother clubs is indeed in the spirit of elevating Rotaract. So I really want to appreciate our Rotaract on call, whose desire is to get someone to make a presentation to their club. That is something very good to write home about, because we all must work together to create a better future. And the future is an empowering posterity through reading and writing, and therefore creating a good environment for learning, because reading and writing is a fundamental factor in effective learning. So the road tractors are encouraged, but they also at the same time are appreciated that they already are partaking of this great idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the additional response and the rejoinder. Thank you, DG.
Maybe the question that I may ask, so what do we expect in terms of major BELEP activities in the month of October? Maybe if you could throw a light on what is expected apart from the usual routine of clubs engaging with their respective schools. From the Secretariat, what is the major highlight of October in terms of activities?
One, thank you, DG. I will start with the normal routine because I don't want us to take it for granted because we can easily do so. Remember, our riding mantra is making reading a way of life. And you cannot make reading a way of life by only going once on the dear day to the school. We did guide and request that let this be a monthly engagement. And the whole goal point is that at least the schools will be able to take this up and encourage reading even on a weekly basis on their own without us being there. But as a bare minimum, we request that clubs on a monthly basis go back to your schools and see to it, work with the school administrators and dedicate ample time to reading so that the message is home and wide. Now, what do we look up for in the month of October? We will be climaxing the reading, the essay writing competition. And I don't know whether Sandra is still on call. You could really guide us quickly on how we are going to climax the national essay writing competition that is ongoing. Sandra, if you're on call, you could kindly voice a little more on that before I can come in with what else colleagues need to look or engage in the next month. Sandra, are you still there? I don't seem to see Sandra. Probably
Maybe
she did.
Before Sandra comes in, if she's to come in, there's something that members need to appreciate, that BELEP is a great idea, but it is also informed by the strategic vision and imperative and direction of our Rotary International president. Because our Rotary International president implored us to imagine Rotary. And what we've done as a district is to imagine Rotary as a tool of transformation. But we are also using BELEP to enhance literacy and education. But in doing so, we are also promoting Rotary. We are also popularizing the 7 areas of focus, because the topics under which pupils are supposed to write their essays resolve around the 7 areas of focus. A child can pick one and they imagine that area of focus making a contribution in the lives of our communities. So a child can pick on basic education itself and how they imagine it can change lives. They can choose a topic on economic empowerment, water and sanitation, maternal and child health. So we are using that to demystify these areas of focus and also to get our young children to know about these areas of focus and write about them and read about them, is preparing fertile ground for Rotary growth in the future. Because if there's a young person, a child, a pupil that has written an essay, or even the one that are going to be the winners, that is impactful throughout the life of such a young pupil. So we are using it to enhance reading and writing, but in a purposeful, intentional, and deliberate way of creating awareness around the 7 areas of focus. And also going back to the theme of imagine, because the essay is to do with imagine, and then it goes into any area of focus. So it is a very intentional way of popularizing Rotary, demystifying Rotary, and getting our communities to appreciate, even parents, because these kids will go back and explain their essays to their parents, and the schools themselves are getting to know and appreciate the areas of focus. So the impact of BELEP goes just beyond reading and writing. It also goes to popularizing and creating awareness of the 7 areas of focus, but also scaling up the theme for the year of Imagine Rotary. I thought, team leader, that this angle also needs to be appreciated and understood by the Rotarians, so that the appreciation of BELEP goes beyond just the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DG. Going back to the focus areas in the next month. 1, we will be awarding the winners of the National Essay Writing Competition in the month of October. So within the remaining week, if your club has not submitted essays from your partnering schools, you are invited and encouraged to do so. Number 2, as you heard from Caroline Kavuma, the Vice Chair, we are going to be engaging in teacher and learners assessments in the month of October. In fact, early October. So this will be done in the particular schools by clubs that would have been involved and included in the scientific sample. So look out for this. We'll definitely engage and communicate on the same. Again, like I said, it is very important that after the assessment of our learners and our teachers, we will be able to disseminate the relevant areas and critical and focus areas of intervention, of engagement. There will be dissemination of the findings of this assessment, and this will inform all of us as clubs to continue engaging in a much more directed way. In the area of and in the space of community libraries, in the month of October, we are looking at attaching at least each club to a community library. So friends, by the end of the month of October, we should be attached to a community library for us to be able to enhance learning. And together with the Community Libraries Association of Uganda, we'll be able to have concerted efforts that will see reading to a different dimension all together. And then one more important thing that I need to inform us today is that if there are clubs out there that are still interested in being a part of our district global grant, the plan is actually to get to know who these are by the end of this month. We have had clubs that have already registered and made good of their commitments. But if you are interested, please reach out, because we hope to have this closed by the end of this month so that we can be able to get into deeper engagement in the upcoming months of October. So this is really the roadmap on what is going to happen, particularly in the month of October, but also the normal and the usual activities continue right away as we started. I'm talking about reading, I'm talking about donation of books, I'm talking about working and improving on the learning environments. And we've seen a lot of activities in this. We've seen people really renovating classrooms. We've seen libraries coming up. We have seen new classroom blocks being coming up. We've seen equipment of libraries. A lot of this should continue as we journey through this BELEP engagement. So I thank you, and I think this is pretty much a summary of the roadmap that lies ahead in the upcoming months. Thank you. Okay, Mr. President, if you're still with us, I see no more questions, no comments.
Yes.
I beg to end it here.
Thank you very much, CP Frederick, for leading us in this Mesa session as well, for all the questions and submissions from all of you, the Mesa participants. We are grateful. I would like to commit the rest of the day to the Lord. I pray for your success this day and the days to come. Thank you. Bye-bye.